There are many consequences to not properly taking care of the environment. These can include global warming, biodiversity loss, pollution, just to name a few. Because of this, it is important to critique the environmental policies of certain countries to point out the positives and the negatives. With the extensive research I have done, I consider myself to be a reliable source on the environmental policies of South Africa and Japan. Every person must do all they can to protect the earth. Though it will be difficult to reverse the damage that has already taken place, every little bit helps. The environment is a very important topic, and many countries have differing opinions on what to do to protect it. South Africa, on one hand, has one of the worst EPA rankings, and Japan, on the other, has one of the best. So, it will be interesting and beneficial to compare the two. Let's start with Japan. Japan faces many environmental issues due to their large population and small surface area. A major issue is waste management. Many years ago, they decided to incinerate their trash so it did not take up as much space. But that caused massive increase in air pollution. Because of this, the Japanese government encouraged stricter waste management regulations. A study done by Brett Smith found that only 1% of Japan's waste ended up in landfills. That's an astonishing fact. A reason Japan is able to reach these astounding numbers is because the Japanese government has put a large emphasis on volunteer work to help the environment. This approach is quite different from the majority of countries. However, it has been quite beneficial in reducing their overall emissions. A paper written by Toshi Aramura and his colleagues explained that this works because the government issues light-handed regulations, but threatens heavy-handed regulations if people do not follow the rules. The threat of this seems to keep everyone in check. After the explosion of nuclear reactors in Fukushima many years ago, the Japanese government has instituted great ideas to encourage its people and protect the environment. The saying, "every little bit helps," relates perfectly to how the people of Japan have been handling the environment the past couple of years. And it'll be interesting to see if countries institute any of their policies. Okay, now let's look at South Africa. Due to the sudden urbanization in South Africa, there has been an increase in water, air, and solid waste pollution. These problems have caused health issues for many parts of the population. According to WWF Global, the main problem is that 60% of the water in South Africa is situated in only 20% of the land. Also, only about 10% of the water is accessible, and this is due to large underground rock formations. Obviously, access to clean water is a major issue, and this is due to an increase of people moving to the cities. The problem is so bad that one study done by the Water Project found that in one city, 35% of the city's water is stolen or given out through illegal connections. To combat this, dams are in the process of being built to obviously increase water supply, but the progress is slow. In order to combat this problem, the South African government should put more money into assessing new sources of clean water and passing policies that encourage its people not to be wasteful. Environmental policies are very important for reducing the negative effects of many environmental issues. The main issue right now would be climate change, and experts have agreed that we have only a little 7 years to change what we've been doing, or it'll be too late. Countries must pass legislation that encourages less emissions. Climate change will inevitably cause drought, which will decline our overall water supplies. It will also increase the likelihood of wildfires, which will decimate our oxygen from trees, making it very difficult to breathe properly. Environmental policies are very important in our society, but they unfortunately often are deemed not as important as other aspects of our economy. Every country is different, so what works for one country might not work for the next. But it is crucial that a larger emphasis must be put on the development of a functional environmental policy for all countries. Even though, economically speaking, it would be wiser to invest more money elsewhere to improve the economy, we must also remember that without the environment, we won't be able to survive. So what does it matter if a country with a booming economy has a booming economy if you do not have the necessary resources to live? You won't be able to enjoy that booming economy. As countries develop, environmental policies need to evolve with it. To ensure that our societal progress does not do lasting damage to the earth. I hope you have learned something about the importance of environmental policy by taking a detailed look into the troubles and successes of Japan and South Africa. Thank you.